busy again. And every time I got home, if the thought of recording was on my mind, I was always just too tired. And the setting's a little bit different right now. But tonight I really felt like recording and I wanted to try something new. I'm in my bed and I'm using my iPad that I bought for school. So it's a little bit more cozy for me. In a way, there's not as much sound. And I'm using my lavalier mics that I bought for my short film, which I was considering posting on this channel. However, it kind of doxes my location in a way, and my real name, which is fine, but, you know, there's some stuff you want to keep private. I could edit the video, but I don't have the original source footage for some of the clips in the video, or in the short film, and like to get rid of the, stuff, so when I re-upload it, it'd be missing some scenes, or elements, so I could just use YouTube Editor and blur it. But it does take away from it's a bit of an immersion killer in a way, to have like this big blur box and everyone's names. Anyways, my friends got me a trigger from Dollarama, and it's a really good one. So, I'm trying to be gentle with it. And I can get really close without having any fans blaring or any of that, and it looks really weird. From this angle, it's like really like distorted, like, okay, whatever. But I'm just trying some new stuff. This is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Yeah, most of you are going to read this in your senior year of high school. Either this or 1984, or Handmaid's Tale, if you're in the Canadian school system at least. It makes some good sounds though. If I'm being honest, I never actually read the book at all. I read like 2 pages, but I got like an 83 on my essay for it somehow. And my friend who actually read the book got a lower grade. So I feel kind of bad about that. But I've always been a bit of a writer. Anyways, my school starts on the 2nd of September, so there's a good chance I'm not going to upload again I'm going to go on another hiatus for another little while. Sorry if I'm breathing into the mics. But there's been a lot happening in terms of work. I've been working almost every day, and a lot of the time I'm just working 12-hour shifts because people don't come in a lot of the time, so I just have to, nobody else covers for them or volunteers, so I just kind of fill in. And some days I'm already working a shift, so, and they're usually working the shift either before me or after me, so I just end up staying for the entire day. Opening and closing shift, which is, it's okay, it's just a lot of work. It can be draining. There seems to be a bad omen at my workplace because there's always stupid stuff that happens. Like kids being a bunch of idiots, messing with our equipment and stuff, and I work at a beach for the Owners Association, Homeowners Association, so I manage like the facilities there. And we rent out paddle boards and kayaks. There's an age limit, so you have to be 16 in order to be on one by yourself, and if you're under 16, an adult has to be on it with you. It's just for safety reasons. It's not to be like an asshole or anything. out, but we'll get them to bring the paddles and life jackets back. Sometimes they just don't. A lot of the time they just don't bring the life jackets and or paddles back. So kids will take that stuff, they'll see it, and they'll take it even knowing that they're not supposed to be using that sort of thing. They're supposed to sign it out, and they just end up being reckless with it. And I caught some kids. I don't want to say caught, but it was pretty blatant. They were just smashing our double kayaks into each other, like the two-seaters. We have two of them. They're brand new too, because we had to get new ones because most of our kayaks ended up with holes in them because of the damage that had been done too. But yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. So having to go and talk to the mom who's completely aware of the kids, no life jackets or anything, and this is like, I would dox myself if I said this, but it's a really deep man-made lake, like really deep. And I think it goes 50 feet down. Yeah, 50 feet. And they're in the middle of it. No life jackets. It's a chubby kid who's on the back of this double kayak, which is ours, which we didn't rent out to him. We rented it out to a different family. And it's like free to rent out as long as you're a resident of the community. But this kid, and he's my neighbor too. We're not good friends with that neighbor, that side of the neighbor. It's usually like, I think everyone has it where like one side of their neighbor, like one of their neighbors is super nice, and the other side they don't talk to because they're weird. So that was like the weird one. Yeah, they were like almost sunk one of our kayaks, and then I warned them. I was like, okay, you guys gotta be careful, okay? And like, what is the mom doing? Just doing nothing. And it's like, we're not lifeguards. We don't have lifeguards. It's a lake. It's not like you can't expect other people to do everything for your kids and just let your kids run wild without any sense of repercussions, because that's what's gonna happen. Anyways, this one family got away with it for some reason, even though we took it up with the office because it was really bad. They had a history of being really terrible, but they got away with it. They're still being a bunch of assholes at the beach. Yeah, that was like a different family that was like jumping on our paddleboards and kayaks the one time, and they threw sand inside of our bathrooms and like just messed it all up. And the kids, of course, will deny it. They'll be like, "Oh, that didn't happen," and the mom's like, "Oh, you can't ban us from the beach because you just don't have the power to do that. I'm not gonna let you do that." I was like, "Well, there has to be repercussions for your actions, and yes, we can. You signed a waiver saying that we can do that." So she wants to take it up with the office. They get away with it anyways, for whatever reason. That other family that almost sunk our kayaks, they almost sunk them twice because they were like in the middle of the lake with them. I had to go out and talk to the mother of one of the kids that was out there. Like literally looked like they were about to drown. It was so bad. I was like, "Are you aware of this?" And she was like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Okay, like I've told you, you need to be on it with them. These kids are clearly like they're like 13, 8 years old. It's ridiculous." And the mom seems to have like, it's like she's aware like this is against the rules. It's not even about the rules, it's about safety in general, and that this is happening. And I was like, it took me until I told her, like, "Do you see what's happening?" For her to be like, "Oh, maybe I should call them back in." And I was like, "Yeah." And I had to ask her to have a talk with them and be like, if this happens again, they will not be allowed to come back to the beach, or we'll take it up with the office, or we will I don't know. I just said that we were revoking ill-commitment access for the rest of the day. But yeah, the mother was understanding though, so she was pretty nice about it. She just didn't seem to have any sort of, I don't know, parenting. I can't tell people how to parent their kids, but I had to tell her. That was when I had to step in. I was like, "Oh my god, she needs to be aware of this." I was like, "I've already talked to the kids. They're more than capable it spins and cuts up any sort of like material or debris that gets stuck in the pump, just cuts it up and sends it out towards like the treatment or whatever thing to be filtered out. Sometimes it doesn't work, so that's why you don't flush tampons or diapers down, because it's hard to slice stuff like that up. It's hard for it to be processed or stuff like that, and it gets caught in it. So we had like sewage water. Well, we had sewage water draining, like floating through the storm drains and in the bathrooms and in the back room where we had all of our equipment and stuff. And like before that, I was like just getting some kids some life jackets, and all of a sudden I hear this beep, 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 like super loud beeping, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? So, let's get this. Delta Note Black Edition. Deeper sounds. So I told, it's only been 13 minutes. My gosh, feels like it's been forever already. I went to go see what it was, because we thought someone had triggered the emergency exit or something. You're supposed to have a key card to let yourself out of a building, but a lot of the time we just have to let them in or out, because we just confirm their residence. Tell them, hey, make sure you bring your pass next time, but a lot of the time they don't. But it wasn't that, because the alarm was coming from the back. Otherwise, if it was the alarm, it would have been coming from the front, so I was like, maybe it's at the back gate that this alarm's coming from, but no, it's in the back room, and I can see, like this pump alarm is like flashing red, and I was like, it was so loud, I was like, oh my gosh, people are probably freaking out. That's what I was concerned about, was other people, like people on the beach freaking out over this super loud sound. Saw this silence button on it, clicked that, the alarm stopped. I mean, it only stops for like 5 to 10 minutes if the issues persist. If the issue persists that it detects, the alarm will just turn back on after like 10, 15 minutes. 5, 10, 15, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe. Something like that, because it kept on turning on a couple times. It was a bit of a jump scare every time. Anyways, I was like, I don't know what to do, so I changed the batteries in it. That wasn't the issue. I ran the water, and when I did, the water was really high pressure. And when I went to take the nozzle off, that lets you just kind of like control like a little, like a head, like a gun sort of head. I went to take it off. I didn't turn the water off, so when I took it off, it was such high pressure because of the water being clogged in like all like the whatever. I'm not a plumber. It was like through the little like rim, the seal. What do they call it? It's like when you screw it on. The water was like, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's spraying everywhere. And as I say that, I get like that final unscrew, and it goes right into my face. I lose control of the hose, and it's spraying all over my face. And I move out of the way, and it sprays all over the ceiling and all over the floor, right into the camera that recorded all of it. I have the footage, but I'm not going to show it because it shows. Well, it's just private. I can't show that stuff because it's like workplace stuff. And it would dox me anyways. So I had to like hold it with my hands together as it's spraying water. I'm just holding it down as the water's like flowing, like just. I'm holding it, trying to stop the water from going everywhere, and it's just spraying into my hand. So I get my coworker. I was like, I need help, because there was nothing I could have done. The water shut-off valve was all the way like across the room. So my coworker walked in and was like, what is happening? And I was like, just please turn the water off. So she hits the switch to turn the water off, but it only turns off the shower water that are like the outdoor showers, not the hose showers. And I was like, no, you gotta turn off the screws that are on the bottom. And then she turned them off. And I was like, oh. So I got that sorted out. And then I had to call in my boss, who came in and helped me, because we couldn't figure out what the problem was. So it turns out, yeah, the pump was blocked. So we had to open up like this big storm drain, but like a big, like kind of like a manhole cover, not a storm drain, manhole cover, unbolted. It's like a 5-foot drop into this like, it's like a 5-foot deep hole. And it's like this sewage water with all sorts of shit in it. It was disgusting. I couldn't smell it until like after I came back in, like the next day. I was like, oh my god, it smells so bad. The bathrooms stink. I noticed the bathroom stunk the day before, like the day of the incident, which was yesterday. I was like, how do I not smell the water? Like, it's like my nose had just become desensitized to it. Like adaptation or acclimation or whatever you call it. Or it turns off certain receptors, sensory receptors, as soon as your brain detects it's not a threat. But I don't smell like sewage stuff often at all. So, it's a little bit odd. Anyways, it was like this 150-pound, like, copper, it looked like this diving bell. We had to, like, tie these little ropes to it, and we both had to pull it out. It was really heavy and awkward to pull out. But first we had to use, like, a little sump pump, however you say it. The water, like the sewage water, that had raised up because it was blocked, and the pump's supposed to pump water out. As soon as the water gets to a certain level, it pumps it out and gets it down. Lets the water raise up again, you know? But it's blocked, so the water can't be pumped out, so it just raises and raises. That's why there was sewage water raising through all the storm drains, like inside the bathrooms and stuff. It's disgusting. And it wasn't the same water that sprayed all over my face. Thank God. That was just hose water, which is also a bit of a health hazard. house originally. And I was like, oh, could I just get their address? And they told me, and I was like, and they told me the name as well, and I was like, it doesn't match what we have in the system. I was like, are you sure? And I was like, you could also just get them to come up here, and I was like, are they actually here? And they were like, no, they're not actually coming today. They were like, but last time, the last couple weeks, they've just let us in, and we've been able to use it. And I'm like, you can't just use your friend's address because your friend lives here to get into the beach. It doesn't work like that, and it's a weekend. I was like, I don't know what coworker, because we do have some really lazy coworkers, that any other job that they would be working at would have been fired long gone by now. But because this is such a basic, it can be so basic most of the times. But then when stuff happens, which is of course whenever I'm working, it ends up going into, you have to have like plumbing experience, computer experience, payment, financing, water craft experience, manual labor, electrical stuff, and so it looks really good on your resume. But for most of the time that nothing's happening, you're sitting in a chair just giving people boats or life jackets or managing payments, and stuff like that, which is pretty simple. So people who are lazy, it's like, we don't have anyone else to come in anyways. We can't just hire more people if we fire those people. Anyways, I was like, I don't know who was on the minute, and she gave the biggest eye roll ever, and I was like, oh my gosh. Because like, it's understandable. Some people just want to come in to check the beach, you know, and we've done that before. Where it's like, it's an empty day, no one else is at the beach, and it's a weekday. It's like, okay, sure, I'll let you in to check it out. And a lot of the time, people are truthful and honest, and they'll go in 5 minutes later, they'll be like, okay, I'm coming out. Sometimes it'll be like, they'll come in and they'll be like, yeah, we just want to check it out, and then they'll want to sign stuff out, or they'll be there for like 4 hours, and it's like, oh my gosh, we said you could check it out for like a couple minutes, you know, not use stuff like that because it takes up capacity, and you know, like, it's just dishonest and disrespectful. But yeah, and then I was like, sorry, but I just can't let you in. Like, it doesn't work like that. I don't know which of my coworkers were letting you in, but that's not the way that it goes around here. And then because the family was Indian, they were wearing hijabs. Not Indian, like Muslim, Middle Eastern. Sorry, I don't want to ethnicize, whatever. This other woman comes up, she's also wearing hijab, and it's like a minute later, and she was like, oh, so my friends give me, this is a different woman, by the way, my friends let me in, and if I just use their address, I can just come in. I was like, no, if the friend I was like, is the friend here? And she was like, no. And I was like, unless they're actually on the beach with you, like, and you're actually like a guest visiting with them, I can't just let you in like that, because then anyone could just be like, oh, here's my friend's address, can I please use this, you know? It's like someone claiming they know the president to get into the White House. Like, it doesn't work like that, and that's a pretty odd example, but, you know, or analogy. But, it was such a disaster, and it was so obvious that that they were a friend of the people who had just come down here to try and get in. I was like, no, I'm not gonna let you in. I can't, I'm not, like, because of all the shit that's been happening lately, I gotta really step in and sometimes be not so lenient, and really set some boundaries. We're not just gonna let people push us around and push boundaries like that. You know, you gotta do your job. And she also was like really frustrated, walked back to her car, or didn't even walk back to her. I can see out the back window behind me those two people that came up to me separately within like a minute apart. We're talking to each other. It's like, they're obviously friends. Are you trying to test me to to see if I would let her in over the other person. Gosh. Absolutely ridiculous. Entitlement. Sorry, my mom and my brother are talking outside my room. It'd be awkward if they walked in on me like this. They don't know about my channel, only my brother does. Because of his friends at school. Who would harass me. They were the grade 9s who would harass me. Thank God I've graduated. I don't have to deal with people like that nearly as much anymore. I know that there's people like that in university, but it's okay. Most people mind their business, which is nice. I gotta get this video to 30 minutes before I end it. That cough made me jump for some reason. I don't know why, that scared the shit out of me. I don't know, anyways, like, it's frustrating, but it's what makes things interesting. It's a lot of stories that you can tell with your friends. That's what makes the job fun. That's what makes life great, is that, there's so many experiences that you can, positive or negative, it's something you can learn from, and I just find beauty in it, and I've talked about it before. But yeah, that's like a little update, a little bit of a workplace story and rant. But yeah, I was trying to do a higher quality video for once with like my phone, but it takes a lot of battery if I plugged in my mic into my phone. Like if I shot in log, which I can do with my phone, and then color grade it and all that, because I can do that stuff with me being in film studies and majoring in it. But I'd already just prior experience. Sorry, I haven't had a lot of visual stuff, even though I said that I could do more. I forgot the mic here, so I can't really hear it if I put my hands here. This little Spider-Man. I had a little spider logo. Like a Spider-Man sort of logo. It was more just like a black spider on my nail